Mr. Dan Lau, how you doing today, sir?
I'm doing good, Joey. It's great to see you again, even if it's not in person. But it's been a while.
It indeed has been a while, Dan, and I appreciate seeing you as well. Love the new look. And I have to say, before we really jump into it, Dan, I've got to know this because I feel like you might have an interesting answer. But is there something around this time of year as things start to wrap up and close up that you get the urge to do every year for some reason?
Yeah, it's shave my beard off and have a mustache for about a week, and it's been going on about a 3 or 4 year tradition now with my company's holiday party, and every year I try to one up it. And so I've been, first year was just a mustache, second year was a mustache and a holiday suit. Last year was a mustache and I was dyed red and green with the holiday suit. And so this year I had to take a year off, but it is a fun little tradition that I've enjoyed here.
Wow, you took it way zanier than I anticipated, Dan. I thought like maybe just like organizing some post-it notes, might be on the list. But I mean, full on, have you gone like twirly handlebar mustache? Have you ever attempted that?
Never attempted that, no. But I did see, there's lights in people's beards now, which maybe could be an option for next year.
I mean, you never know. I guess I didn't realize that this was a tradition. I was, I usually get the urge to like just rearrange or like straighten up cable, like do like the thing like on my desk, like really, oh man, I'm gonna make this awesome for the year. And I just bought, like even buying like a little hook to hang my headphones on is like
Right.
life changing to me. So
I usually like to put that after 1/1. I think there's the 1/1 hangover. And so once you get to that 1/1 point in time, you kind of have the first couple weeks in January, you kind of close out the year, that first week. Weeks 2 and 3, you have an opportunity to kind of just clean up everything, email, follow up on phone calls, kind of set some goals for the next year. That's kind of, I kind of let the holidays and all that dust kind of settle, and I kind of tackle those things in the new year.
I kind of like that. I mean, easing into it, just sort of, like you said, just sort of easing back into it. I might have to steal that from you, Dan.
Sure.
So, I mean, what's going on in terms of the cleanup front from insurance? Like, what are you guys doing? I mean, I know that how have things been, I guess, over the last couple of years in general. Obviously, this last one has been more interesting than most. But I mean, what are you guys, doing, seeing that is kind of exciting that, you're planning to gear up for and kind of just shake things up a little bit?
Shaking things up next year, I think, is going to be difficult. There's going to be a lot of kind of see what unfolds next year for us. And I say that because there's some interesting predictions out there with what is going to happen with kind of rates and exposures, depending on how much small business you have, a larger account. So for us right now at the agency, we're really looking to kind of make sure our clients feel comfortable with where they're going next year and kind of what their insurance program looks like, and that they're getting comfortable rates, and that we're seeing capacity issues on different classes of business that are kind of being reduced. And so we're having to go to market a lot earlier than we would have normally. So we're really trying to just be more proactive with kind of a shift that's going on, I think, in the insurance marketplace than we would have had to have been in kind of previous years due to it being more of a soft market.
Yeah, I mean, what does that preparation look like? How are you sort of communicating that throughout all the different agents? Is there, sort of a company-wide approach, or you're, letting, each person sort of have their own, sort of personal spin on it? What does that look like?
Yeah, so our strategy as an agency is really to kind of arm our agents. Since we have the independent contractor model, we try to arm our agents with as much information as possible, and then we work with them with providing them some internal resources with our marketing department. Myself and a few others here is decide they can then come to us and talk about how they want to take that to their clients. Or we offer company-wide webinars, but then we also might offer more individually focused webinars. So if we have a larger client that wants to do something with one of our producers, might focus some webinars that way and kind of do some specialized communication with them.
Yeah, and you mentioned the independent contractor model. That's one that I've been fascinated with since I think, we first got a chance to meet. And I mean, break that down. I mean, how has that changed or evolved at all over the last couple of years? Is it still sort of, the tried and true, bread and butter that you guys are known for?
The model really hasn't changed. I think when we first kind of talked about it, we probably were more focused on, say, individual agents that would come in. We have expanded that model slightly to now have some groups come in where we have, I'll call it a senior producer that has maybe some junior producers underneath them, kind of help driving sales. So we've expanded that model a little bit. Geographically, we've expanded. I'm trying to think how many states we're in now. We're in probably about 10 states. and looking to expand again probably in early January or early February into a couple additional states in the Midwest. So it's given us a little more freedom when we added these agencies as groups versus just looking for maybe an individual agent that was looking either to unplug from another group or possibly looking just to team up with us.
Yeah, I would have to imagine that that opened your possibilities up to working with just a bunch of different people that maybe had those people that they didn't want to leave behind. What was the sort of the moment that clicked? Like, oh, maybe we can make this work for just a handful of people to bring on actual teams of people to really kick things off.
Well, about 3 years ago, we brought in a CEO from outside the insurance industry. And so basically that gave us a fresh perspective on kind of what we were doing and how we needed to kind of look at growing. And given his background, it's just allowed us to be a little bit more flexible and kind of look at things differently. So, he doesn't get scared of complexity. He basically embraces it and tries to figure out how to make it work. And we have had to modify some of our independent contractor agreements to kind of fit that new model, but it's been great for us. And I think it's only going to help us long term because internally having these junior producers come in, it continues to create another layer of perpetuation that we will have. I mean, we still are an older industry, and I'd say, unfortunately, Robertson Ryan continues to skew a little bit older than that average, but we have brought in some youth and there's some new blood there that can kind of take us into the future and help us keep growing.
I mean, so again, it's been about, I would say, boy, coming up on maybe 2.5, 3 years since we last sat down and had a conversation like this. What do you think has maybe changed outside of the obvious, but I mean, what do you think has maybe changed from the that producer outlook to where the type of business they were going after to what people are really looking to accomplish today?
Our approach to kind of generating sales is very individualized at our agency. So I mean, we kind of we're trying to be the trusted advisor, just like everybody kind of in the insurance industry. When we get to our individual producers, they each go to kind of market differently and what that means to them. And so I think in the past, they were really looking at, hey, I'm going to build a relationship and a strong relationship with a client, and I'm going to make sure that I meet their insurance needs. We continue to add different avenues through the agency to provide resources now. And so we have a 401k offering, which I know isn't anything unique, but it's something that was new to Robertson Ryan. We have a premium finance company, which now allows us to kind of work with our agent owners as well as the clients that don't want to deal with a higher percentage rate with some of the standard premium finance companies. We've partnered with some, HR firms. We continue to do some investments with different technologies and vet those out and see what is necessary for the client. So I think, from that 3 years ago, I think that was kind of where we're at. And now what people have done is been able to take those tools and provide additional resources to the clients and additional value and expertise that maybe you can't get with every independent agent on the street. So now, so more than ever, we also are providing some backroom expertise with all of the craziness that is going on, whether it's a PPP loan, things related to the pandemic, and now we're putting together resources for our clients as in, related to the vaccine and what that means for people. So people are starting to really pivot away from just kind of trying to provide an insurance product to them or an insurance solution and kind of look at, hey, how can I really help your business? Which I know that's not groundbreaking, but it's a little bit more a different approach than I think we looked at in the past.
Well, I think, the overall structure of the company too, plays a part in that, just because, like you said, it was all sort of this little individual pockets of independent contractors. I'm kind of curious how your role has evolved in that time period as well. And I think also too, to kind of speak to your experience sort of, I guess, herding the cats maybe in some way, shape or
Sure.
form. And to somebody that might be looking to expand their agency and consider different ways to do that. I mean, what have you seen in comparison to the way that, Robertson Ryan does it versus, a traditional agency model where everybody's brought in-house, all of that fun stuff, like, in a little bit of a different way?
First, I would tell you, I wish that all the independent contractors were employees, because it's basically do it or get out kind of thing. And that's extreme, but herding cats is difficult, and you get pulled in a lot of directions because we have about 120 producers. One of them may find value in this offering that we've put together. and the other 119 are just like, I don't care. So now we've invested all this time and energy in trying to make this offering work for somebody, and it doesn't go as we would like. So, we continue to try to build consensus amongst the group to make sure that we are focusing our efforts on the right things as the agency as a whole, and not just something that is very individualized. So, over the time because we've expanded outside of Wisconsin, I think actually we've now have over 30% of our employees and producers are outside of the state of Wisconsin. We definitely had to kind of look at things differently and make sure that we're not just focused on things that are in southeastern Wisconsin, because that's not important to someone that's in Arizona or Nevada. And I know that seems easy, but as an agency, when you start growing kind of rapidly like that, we had to change things. I mean, change things as simple as just having a different distribution list within our email system so people don't get blasted by news that's happening in our Milwaukee headquarters and, hey, there's going to be a protest on the street, make sure you get out of here before that time, type of thing. So we've just really kind of had to become more kind of nationally focused and not just so Midwest focused.
So now you got me interested, Dan. I kind of want to know, like you said, the different offerings. What does that process look like then to really jump into, well, should we go this route? What carriers do we bring on? What products do we want to focus on? I can imagine that's got to be an intense democratic process if it is one. How do you make any progress in that area?
It's very difficult. And if you talk to any of the software firms that try to sell us products, you'll know how difficult it is. But for us, when our CEO came in, one of the things that he implemented was an agency council. So the way we're structured is we're owned by a group of shareholders. There's a board that kind of, provides this direction, and then there's the management team. And then so from the management team, what we do is we start out vetting new ideas and concepts, and then we take them to this agency council. And the agency council is made up of a few of our shareholders as well as non-shareholders. And so we'll bring ideas to that group, kind of talk them out, debate them, see what makes sense. If on that group it goes nowhere, generally we're deciding probably not to focus our time on it. But if they see interest and they want us to explore it a little more, we'll keep digging into it and possibly make an investment for that new offering. And that has seemed to work pretty good because that group consists of about 15 people. And if we have 15 kind of, I'll say, strong independent contractors that are out there selling and growing their book, that kind of just builds momentum enough where everybody kind of follows and comes on board with the idea.
So I don't know if you have the answer to this question off the top of your head, or at least just in some sort of general thought or like idea, but with everybody having, being very, encouraged to be, like you said, individual, they have their own sort of way of thinking. They control their book of business in a way most agents don't. Is there an area of business that you find that most agents just gradually sort of naturally default to, like selling a lot of? Do you see any sort of like, hey, these are the things that we sell pretty consistently, no matter where we're bringing people on? Or is it really just 5% here, 2% there? Is it a little more scattered?
That really depends on the agent, I think, because we do have agents that are niche focused, and what people are doing in different niches tends to have, similar results, right? But for the most part, most of our agents are kind of Main Street generalist type agents, and some of them stay in their lane and other ones kind of are comfortable getting outside of it a little bit. So I don't know that I would say I see anything consistently across the board.
All right, Dan, then give me something. Is there something that you have seen that has kind of piqued your interest? Like, I think I like where this is heading. I like what I've seen from, maybe a small group of agents. Is there something that's really stood out to you that looks promising that you think maybe should deserve a little more attention?
So you want our secret sauce, Joey?
I'm just not the whole, just maybe some salt and pepper, a little ketchup.
Yeah. I tend to answer that question as like, at least here, we don't overcomplicate things in terms of coming up with this great philosophy on how we sell insurance or how we convince our clients on what to buy. Our main focus has always been, and I think will continue to be for the foreseeable future, is it's still going to be relationship driven. And the only thing that has really changed in our model and kind of had some agents adapt is that it's the way they're interacting with clients now. That has been, I think, the difference maker, which I know we're all adapting in this day and age with the video meetings and email blasts, podcasts, whatever it is. But the people, at least here at Robertson Ryan, that have adapted to trying to reach out to their client in a different format and embraced it seem to be making deeper connections than other people that are still kind of relying on some of that old school philosophy. So I don't even know if that's salt and pepper. That's kind of just like a crumb that fell off the edge of the table. But
maybe next time we'll get to like something like a hollandaise sauce potentially, but
there we
maybe
go.
next time. This question might seem simple, but I don't know if it is. What do you think makes a great relationship?
That's a simple, great question though. In insurance, it is. I'll just say in life, to me, it's all about trust, right? It's all about having your business partner, your client, your vendor trust who you are. And I'll relate it back to underwriting, right? Underwriting as an agent, you're constantly trying to get them to kind of bend the rules or operate in that gray space versus being held to some sort of underwriting rule where you're not going to really get something done. And if underwriters don't trust you for the information you're giving them or what you're saying is going to happen down the road, they're probably not going to bend that guideline for you. I also think that goes true with kind of your client. Your client needs to know that my business is in good hands. I mean, fundamentally what we're doing is we're protecting their largest asset, their business, their home, those type of things. And they need to be able to trust you that you're getting them the best product out there, that in the event of that loss, they're going to be able to be put back to whole again. And if you're not able to build that trust and that credibility, or have the client have confidence in you, it isn't going to work. And that relationship it's going to be surface deep, and they're going to leave you before you can ever have a long-term relationship with them, I guess. So that's what I think.
I'm going to go for one more simple, maybe difficult question. Okay. What is your preferred way to build that trust?
I like to do what I say I'm going to do would be the first thing. And then the next thing is kind of coming through for them when it matters. Right out of the gate, I think it's pretty difficult to tell clients, hey, I've got you. Here's my track record. This is why you should trust me. Some people get that, but until they get to know you and they have an experience where you can kind of come through for them, that's usually, I think, that moment where it kind of seals the deal. Like, hey, this is a great relationship. I know Dan has my back. I know he's going to get this done for me when the time matters.
I can say for sure that I can vouch for the first part of that. I'm pretty sure you do what you say you're going to do, Dan. I mean, we don't know each other that well, but I can go on record. I think I can put that out on the record. All right, Dan, I got 3 more questions for you.
Okay.
And we're going to keep them simple still. The first one, I got to know, what's one thing that you hope you never forget?
What if I told you there's things that I've kind of already lost sight of a little bit that I wish I could get back? But I just want to make sure that I never forget kind of all of the people along the way that it's helped me kind of get through life, get through my career, get to where I'm at, because I'm very thankful for them. And I will tell you that I've made many mistakes along the way and had to been picked up and helped. And those people, I always want to make sure that I never forget them. And I owe them a lot of thanks for helping me kind of grow up and become who I am.
All right, Dan, I'm kind of curious. I want to know, I'm going to break format here. I'm going to add in a question here. What are the things that you've lost sight of? And you brought it up. We got to go there.
So this was, so I have 2 kids. This is more on a personal level, not on a professional level, but the 2 kids, I get, and then you have children as well. So, that going in and the birth of your first one is amazing. And the birth of your second one is great. And however many kids you have, they're all amazing. But there's details of that night or that morning that I will tell you have slipped away. And I'm like, I either should have wrote them down or I should have taken a video about it, because I felt like those moments were so incredible that I never want to forget any second of it. And I know that there's little details that I've missed out on now that I probably will not get back, or I need to talk to my children's mother to make sure that she can keep me in the loop on them. So that's just one example.
I guess maybe I'll get you a video camera for Christmas, Dan, a nice good one. We'll get you all set up and maybe some editing software, and we'll get you high flying and all that. The original second question in the sequence is on the other side of what have you, hope you don't forget. What's one thing that you still have yet to learn?
One of the things I think I strive to be is like a great coach and a great leader. I'm learning how to be a good coach with my kids and with my colleagues at work, and I'm also striving to become a great leader. And I know that in sitting in meetings with other people that I look up to and that are in positions of leadership, I know that I'm not where I need to be. So I know that I've got a long way to go to kind of learn and kind of master those two things. But I would say I look forward to getting better at those two.
There's nothing like noticing that little tiny moment of, oh, that was great leadership. If you're able to recognize it sort of like right around the moment. All right, Dan, last question to you, sir. If I were to hand you a magic wand of sorts to reshape, change, alter, speed up, really do whatever you want with insurance in any way, shape, or form, what's that thing? Where is it going? And what is it doing?
My magic wand would be figure out what technology is going to win. And there are so many great offerings right now with insure tech companies that are here to support the independent agents, and that you're constantly kind of vetting them out. You're exploring new ones, and it's uncertain which one is going to kind of win out. And maybe they all win out, but it's for me and at the firm when we're looking at these new options, we try to understand which one do we put the most amount of time into and which one would make sense for us as an agency. And it's hard to make that answer or find that answer. And it would just be nice to kind of be like, take that magic wand, fast forward 5 years, whatever it is, and say, oh, that was the right one, and go from there.
Dan, this has been fantastic. I'm going to leave it right there, sir.
All right. Thank you, Joy. This was great.